Hello, hello. Let's get going. Hello, hello. I am Mayor Watt. That is ohmtown.com, and up there is the AI that keeps everything in check. You want to introduce yourself real quick?
Good evening, hometown citizens.
Tonight is Season 2, Episode 171 for June 20th, 2023. Seeing red, oily pennies. And more news. All of it makes sense once we get into the show, so let's get going. No preamble, no nothing. Except this is now the preamble. Is there anything you wanted to add?
I have nothing to add to the preamble, so let's just amble.
We are... Oh. Okay. If it is a preamble, then I guess the... After the preamble is the amble, and then there's a post-amble?
Yes, I think so.
And all the while I ramble. While I amble.
We should keep the pre and post ambles short, and the amble is where it's at.
That doesn't always work for me, though. Did you know that we grew a crop named after a person that's going to be highlighted in our stream today?
I did not know that.
Yeah. We'll talk about it in a little bit. Okay, let's get into it. Maybe a little faster than that. The very first article for today actually is, it's not even 8 minutes into the show, and I'm fighting the filter, because the filter is that I want to say a skit from a comedy show about pennies, but I'm not allowed to. So let's just jump over this. So an auto shop owner who paid a worker in oily pennies has been ordered to pay nearly $40,000 more. That's right. So I did a show about it and highlighted this way in the past, early 2022, I think it was, about a auto repair shop owner who paid a former employee 91,500 oily pennies. And it was just that vindictive whatever, just trying to, I guess, pour oil on this guy's Cheerios. And, the person deserved what he was getting paid. I guess the shop owner didn't really like it. So let's go over to the article itself. It's by the Associated Press, but it's posted on abcnews.go.com. And it says the owner of an auto repair shop who paid a former employee with 91,500 oily pennies has been ordered to pay ordered by a judge to pay nearly 4 million more cents. $40,000.
I was going to say, how many is that in dollars?
Well, because of the way that things went down, that employer, I think, was audited. And so a federal judge ruled that Miles Walker, who owns A.O.K. Walker Auto Works in Peachtree City, Georgia, owes $39,934 to 9 other workers who didn't get unpaid overtime and damages. So attorneys for Walker agreed to pay the settlement, basically, brought by the U.S. Department of Labor, or Labor Department, that accused Walker of retaliating against former employee Andre Flatten in 2021. So early 2022 is when this actually came to a head, and now in 2023, this is going to be an annual thing for Miles Walker, so maybe Miles Walker should probably kind of chill and start following.
Or maybe it's time to just stop owning a shop if you don't want to treat your employees well.
Yeah, well, there's that. After Flatten filed a complaint with the agency saying Walker owed him a final $915 paycheck, the employer dumped the amount in oil-covered pennies in Flatten's driveway. The amount in loose change came with a pay stub signed with an expletive. In June 16, signed a consent order in which Walker agreed to pay nearly $8,700 more to Flatten and owed overtime and damages. 8 other workers are to receive amounts ranging between $14,640 and $513 within the next year. Oh, so there it is. It is. It's going to be an annual thing. This person's bad karma has led to an annual payout of comeuppance. Walker's attorney, Ryan Farmer.
I say good.
Yeah, I say good too. Walker's attorney, Ryan Farmer, said the conflict with Flatten doesn't reflect his client's true character as a businessman. No, as a human.
It's very reflective. I mean, when is it your go-to move to dump pennies in oil, count them out, write a pay slip or whatever, and dump them in somebody's driveway?
Right. Yeah, it's true character as a businessman, probably not, but true character as a human being, of which business people are human beings, arguably. Yeah. Mr. Walker is like many other small business owners in America. He wakes up every day doing everything he can to put food on the table, Farmer said in an emailed statement Tuesday. Unfortunately, emotionally charged decisions come back and bite you in the rear end.
Ouch, that's your own attorney.
I think that's actually Farmer. Farmer actually said that.
Right, that's his attorney.
Right? Yeah. So, brutally honest attorney, I don't know. This statement probably should have been left on the cutting room floor.
Oh, but I bet the journalist really wanted to include that quote.
Yeah. Hey, this is off the record, right? Yeah, sure. Nice. So who was it that didn't get paid $14,640 in overtime that finally got their $14,640 all because Flatten decided to...
Well, I know Flatten bore the brunt of it. I mean, and if this business owner had been doing the right thing, they would have been paying the people what they were due to begin with.
Yeah, it's not his $40,000. And I guess, so he can put food on the table, but for himself, because he's not putting it on other people's.
I guess the employees can't do that, you know?
Yeah, I have zero respect. So, but but I know people that bust their hump and they're making, easily 6 digits, like mid 6 digits, $300,000, $400,000 a year. But all kinds of rules and regulations and all of that kind of chip away at 2/3 of that. And they end up with what I would call a measly amount, even though it's still, 6 digits. It's still a measly amount compared to what they are accruing in
the percentage,
gross.
probably.
Yeah. So it's brutal out there, but these people.
But think if you're making minimum wage and you're putting in tons of hours and you're not even getting paid that.
And then you're getting treated like this,
Right.
That's the problem. So if everybody is doing everything they can to put food on the table, but they're doing it right, following the rules and not, step on somebody's neck, then, that's the natural order of things. We should all be working together and making life better. Not just for ourselves, but for everybody. Anyway, let's go on to the next article. So this new Partner Plus tier at Twitch is straining Partners Plus a bunch of other creators. So Twitch's new Partner Plus tier strains an already tense relationship with creators. I don't know. It's putting a strata in there, 70-30, 50-50, etc. And I don't think that anybody who is a partner is locked in at anything. If they have negotiating power, Twitch might say, yeah, oh, okay. They can try and standardize. Maybe they force people to fit in that bucket. But this new tier, which is a 70-30 split, gives more to the content creator as opposed to the standard process. So the default revenue split for Twitch partners is 50-50. Subscriptions start at $4.99, the lowest tier, and go up to $24.99, of which you get 50% if you're a content creator. Twitch doesn't exist without content creators. Content creators don't exist without Twitch. It's a happy medium, even at 50-50. A lot of people kind of go, no way in hell. I deserve more. I'm the content creator. Well, go out and price streaming on your own. Go out and price marketing, advertising, and building an audience. Go out and price the reality of going it alone, and you'll see why Twitch has, in even my opinion, 50-50 is easy mode. I'm cool with 50-50. Now, I'm new. I only stream an hour a night on average. But lately I've been adding more, right? But I don't have a huge audience, if any audience, on some days, because I'm new, right? But I encourage people to come and talk shop with me, and stuff isn't just games here in ohmTown. It's 50 different channels with a gamut of topics and discussion that would make your head spin on most days. 70-30 is for those, I guess you would say, partners with the plus element, the ones that draw people in. And if they were to leave, like, I don't know, the two people that I'm actually going to bring up here that has happened in the last 2 days, or I should say 2 people have left in as many days. This has happened before. I forgot the name of it, the Microsoft one. It wasn't called Mixer, was it? Doggone it. There was one from Microsoft. Just totally forgot what the name of it was, because it was a flash in the pan. It had amazing technology. Anyway, I'm getting sidetracked. The reality of it is, though, that neither one would exist without the other. But here's the deal. Anybody can start streaming on Twitch. All you need is a camera, a mic, and a good personality. Now, I've got 2 of those. I'm hoping that I can get to partner level. That would be great.
So you need a better microphone?
Sure. Thanks. Appreciate that. That's what you were programmed to say. So being the AI for ohmTown has its perks. I get to program you to say certain things. Anyway, so select streamers are offered this 70-30 split. Yet there are a lot of people that took exception to this. A lot of people are looking for reasons to be happy with Twitch after all the recent drama. Diva, a Twitch partner who streams under the handle Divatopia, said, I feel like Twitch has been making not very creator-minded decisions, so they are grasping at straws to do any kind of improvement to make people happy. I don't really know what that means.
Well, what I don't get about this is they're improving the compensation, at least to a certain level. So what's the issue? Is it because you're not at that tier?
Right. Yeah. So you're not a partner plus, you're just a partner. But you're still doing what you were doing before at 50-50. And some people have the ability to leverage their audience and their pull, their reach, the legs that they have for Twitch, and say, yeah, I think I rise to the level where I can hit that 70-30. And apparently it's not, for big streamers, it's not that hard to hit that. But let's go over to TechCrunch. Morgan Sung is the author of this article. Oh, and before I go too far, doggone it, I always do this. Let me throw that into the chat and that into the chat, so you can follow those through ohmTown and check it out. But Morgan Sung over at TechCrunch.com put the article together. And really, if you are making 50% of $5 versus 70%, the amount, really, if you're just barely eking by that level, that where you qualify for the 70%, I don't know if at the end of the day it makes that much of a difference. But if you're really big and you're getting that 70-30, it makes a world of a difference. You could hire somebody additional to help you on the administrative side, or grow by advertising outside of Twitch to draw people in. To qualify, you have to have 350 monthly subs for at least 3 consecutive months. Now, I know people that have 12,000 followers, just followers, and they're on the precipice of 350 monthly subs. So it's real easy for some people. Once you get to a certain level, you become much more aware to people. And so you can, it kind of snowballs in how people discover you, your discoverability in general. And so you get traction and more people find out about you. It's easy to follow somebody. It's really hard to subscribe because it's $5. And 3 subscriptions is a commercial subscription to something like Netflix at the top tier for all of that entertainment. So in a lot of people's minds, you really have to find value in that streamer. I do that. I subscribe to several people because I thoroughly enjoy the engagement. When they're so big that you're just another string of text and you're barely ever interacting, if at all, then they're almost like professional athletes or business people, where they've got millions of followers. In their channel at any time is 25,000 people, and you say hi and good luck, it's just crickets. So you have to find value. That 70-30 split is for those who have been dedicating a lot of time in response. Users or customers or listeners, watchers, lurkers, there are people that are just paying that fee. And so to me, I have no problem, again, 50-50, 70-30. If there is something else beyond that, then it's a negotiation between the principals of the organization that say, well, we're so big, I think that we deserve 80-20, because you're getting a lot of juice for all of the squeeze. I think that I'm worth it, and I'm drawing more people in. 2 people have left. Now, they've gone to something that could be a flash in the pan, but we'll talk about that later. So all you need to do, folks, to get that 70-30 split is to get to 350 monthly subs for at least 3 consecutive months. I don't know if it will drop out at some point if you drop below it. But even to get to the affiliate level, which I haven't even reached, you have to have 50 followers, stream 8 hours, but you have to have 3 viewers on average for every stream that you do. And I get people coming and going, but they're not always there. So if you want to help me out and help me become at least affiliate, then come and hang out. And you don't really even have to chat. I mean, it would be great. I'd love to interact with you, but feel free to lurk. And then to partner, you have to have some more 75 viewers over a 30-day period. And I've actually hit that, but you have to go through affiliate to partner. Then you get to Partner Plus when you have 350 subs for 3 months. There's a lot of people that are making 350 subs, put it to you that way, and a whole lot of competition out there that's chomping at the bit to get to Partner Plus, and they'll be happy to do it. So I'm really not sure why people are so upset about it. Of the 42,366 active partners, only about 1,000 had 350 or more subs in the last 3 months. So, that actually is, in the grand scheme of things, pretty damn good. 1,000 out of 42,000, go try and play sports. But this has better odds of you becoming a partner plus than you becoming a professional athlete. Even if you were professional athlete quality, the chances of you being discovered and making it, to that point where you have bargaining power to get a 70-30 split, good luck. And, well, depending on who you are, this is more fun. You get to play games all day. Or
and
like
you don't
me.
have to get physically injured.
Yeah, you can't.
You're
not going to blow out a
injured.
knee and never work again. Yeah. So, I don't know. We'll keep on watching this and see what happens, but I don't see that. I think that this is just another strata that might encourage people to move towards, running a marathon, that last mile, just really pound that pavement to get there earlier than previous run. Maybe this is going to encourage people to work a little bit harder for their own benefit, because this is all, if you want to think more business, and kind of lean into the sociopath side of things, this is about greed, lean into it, get 70-30, treat it like a business, dedicate more time, commit more stuff to your set, to your shtick, to whatever it is that you do, and push, and you'll be 70-30. I know a streamer that sits there and completely insults their chat constantly, and they're getting all kinds of subscribers. I mean, it's amazing. But it's akin to these other bigger businesses like, Elon Musk and Zuckerberg sitting there saying that everybody is an idiot for using Facebook, and yet they still do it. I don't know. Maybe there's some fun, ironic discussion taking place that I'm not privy to. But I find it fascinating. It's really all about you as a person and personality, and the whole gamut of you that makes people subscribe to you. And if you can get 350 people, you instantly qualify. Well, not instantly. You have to apply. I think you still have to apply. Hello, Z. Welcome to the show. You made it within the first probably 25% of the show, if yesterday was any. Actually, no. More like you made it within the first 10% based on yesterday's show. We did the show for 2 hours. So I don't know. I don't think that this is a big issue, but you never can make everybody happy. It's just never possible, unless Twitch said, and even then, I think if Twitch were to say, you know what, we're so well funded that our investments are capable of funding all of us. We're going to give you all of the revenue. And somebody would grouse about the fact that there isn't.
Definitely grumble.
Yeah. Oh, really? You're giving us.
The thing is.
I would rather have 70-30 and we get 4K streaming than you give me all of the profits and we only have 1080. Ugh. That kind of thing. Oh well. Let's go on to the next article. Yeah, we had a great discussion yesterday. It was a lot of fun. So this next article, though, is in the Mobile channel, and this statement should probably never exist. Blood red crickets invade Nevada town.
Okay, that sounds like the premise for a sci-fi movie.
Yeah.
Or horror movie, maybe.
Definitely horror to me. The pictures I saw didn't really highlight them being like blood red, though. So residents fight back with brooms, leaf blowers, and snow plows. That's where it becomes horror movie. Dana Dolan, was driving through her small Nevada hometown when she thought she had come upon a gory crash. Z is covering their eyes. That's right. Don't look. I'll tell you when you can uncover, because we're about to go over to the source, and I don't know, maybe you don't like blood red crickets. Maybe, well, a lot of people eat crickets, so these red ones are spicy, right?
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah, maybe. The green ones aren't ripe, but the red ones are spicy. The brown ones are just well done. They're yummy, crispy. The ground surrounding Elko's stretch of Interstate 80 looked like it had been covered in blood as the red red color shifted and moved. Oh yeah, Z. Oh yeah, that's a nicer description. Cinnamon flavored.
Okay, yes, that's much
There
better.
you go. Yeah. Okay, AI, grab your Terminator body, run over to Nevada, and lick one of them. Tell me if it's cinnamon, because I'm not going to go. Anyway,
I
she
don't think
realized
so.
that instead it was an infiltration of crickets, some bigger than her thumb, which isn't really a good measurement because a thumb can be this big or it can be that big. So which size cricket is it?
And do you want to really
Somewhere in
stick your
between.
thumb next to a blood red cricket? Probably not.
Crickets. Rio Yamat and Rick Baumer over at phys.org put this article together. There's the picture. I'm gonna zoom in. There you go. Oh, it's like it's right there on your screen. ASMR Ohmtown.
We don't need ASMR involving crickets.
It's almost like a biblical plague, Dolan told the Associated Press last week, laughing at the absurdity of the situation that is playing out in Elko, where she's lived for 6 years. Tens of thousands of, they're referred to as Mormon cricket eggs, buried about an inch deep in the soil, began to hatch in late May and early June. For weeks, the red critters have been invading swaths of northern Nevada and causing chaos, said the state's longtime entomologist, Jeff Knight. Oh, man. No, just no. The invasion of the cannibalistic crickets has hit especially hard in Elko, a small town of about 20,000 near Idaho and Utah, known for its gold mining. The big red bugs leave behind a stench so horrible, akin to burning flesh, that it forces residents to plug their noses while driving. Z says, hard nope. I agree. I don't even want to finish this article.
I'm a little afraid to. It's getting worse as we go.
Look at that. This is like a concrete divider, right? Like on the side of a road to prevent.
Yes, it says it's a Jersey barrier.
Yeah. And oh, that's right. Anyway, it's covered. I'm gonna zoom in. There you go. All over the ground, all up on this barrier. Nice. I'm here for it, folks. I show you this so that you don't have to go looking for it. So.
Okay, but this is kind of funny.
Huh.
The hospital hired people as a cricket patrol, 4 people who had to only clear crickets away for patients to be able to enter the building.
Oh
Okay,
my
that's kind of funny.
God.
I do not want to be on cricket patrol.
There was the medical worker in the cardiology unit who, still in his black scrubs, went outside the hospital's ambulance bay between seeing patients to swat crickets away with a broom, Burrow said, and the IT specialist who helped with cleanup efforts. Outbreaks of Mormon crickets, which are native to the Great Basin and Intermountain West, have been recorded throughout history across the West. From Nevada and Montana to Idaho, Utah, and Oregon, there are records of infestations dating to the 1930s. Well, that's not really recorded history. That's to the 30s. What's
That's
amplifying
like your
this?
neighbor telling you they saw them a few decades ago.
What are you trying to eat, Z? You said you're over there trying to eat. What are you trying to eat? Is it crunchy?
Really?
Yeah. There's Jeremiah Moore holding a cricket, not giving a single cricket. No, you don't hate it here. Come on, Z. Come on. Oh, it's just getting worse. Okay, I gotta go.
Let's go to the next one.
This is bugging me. Well, we're not going to go far, folks, because here in the Marble Channel, watermelon snow turns Utah mountains red. The
Okay,
snow
what is
algae.
going on?
I like this. It is crunchy, huh, Z? Mmm. A little cinnamony. Mmm. Maybe a little spice in there. Mmm. So the snow algae, I have to say it like that, algae. So algae produce a pigment that basically darkens their cells, and it acts as both a protective measure against UV, so it protects their DNA and other aspects of the organelles from damage because they're such a bright place. This is in snow. So the full article is over in thehill.com. Yeah, the hills are alive. Cade Gardner is the author of this, and it's in Cache County, Utah, or Cache, maybe. I don't know if it's really posh, then it's Cache, but if it's, just middle class, standard folk, then it's just Cache. Summer will officially be here in a week, and many Utah mountain peaks are still holding on to some snow. If you're lucky enough to get out there before it's gone, you may see a natural phenomenon called watermelon snow. In Cache County, watermelon snow has turned the mountains into different shades of pink, red, and orange. Add a few crickets, and never mind. Quote, I thought that was pretty cool, said Wallace Sale, who told ABC4 the young boy and his family were visiting Tony Grove Lake all the way from Minnesota. You have to say it like that, eh? Minnesota. They were amused and confused by the bright pink splotches of snow that surrounded the lake, so it's all really from algae. It's actually a green algal bloom that's occurring on the snow's surface, but I guess it's causing the light to bend, reflect the right way. Oh, geez. Oh, geez. So yeah, it's the snow algae produce a pigment that basically darkens their cells, and it acts as both a protection against UV, and it also protects their DNA and other aspects of the organelles from damage because they're in such a bright place. But then also it has a secondary benefit of causing their cells to absorb heat, which melts the snow around them, which allows them to actually access water, because we're out here in the world of water right now, but none of it's accessible. I guess it kind of tweaks the light a bit, and poof. Red, pink.
Please tell me there's a picture in this article.
I do not see one. I know, fail, right? Maybe it's in this. No. I'm going to rewind. There it is. And it's teased. There we go. That was horrible.
I mean,
let me go back.
Bright pink, though.
No, it was so fast they didn't even show it. You might as well. I mean, you get to see it right here, but it basically looks like somebody's dragged a body off into the mountains. I've been playing Diablo 4 for 2 weeks now, for crying out loud. I wake up in the middle of the night. This doesn't highlight it as much, but this snow right here that the person is sitting in, standing in, kneeling in, is pinkish. Red
yeah, but
adjacent.
the other photo gave us a better idea of it.
Let's see. Maybe there's more. Oh, there we go. Eh.
Wow. I mean,
Wait,
did you see the color of the shoe from it?
It stained his shoe?
Mm-hmm. That was in the article, too.
Oh, I skipped over that. That's why I gave up being a PI. I told somebody earlier that I gave up being a PI because of my observation skills. Actually, I was pretty good at it.
Yeah, that's pretty unusual, though.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I guess it's one of those things that you go and see because you're curious, but you'd be bored with it the moment that you live there for, longer than a month.
Right, but everybody else is probably like, what is this?
It's the devil. Melt the snow. All right, let's move on to the next article. So this next article is over in Law Nerd. DC judge rules that guy can't smoke weed in his own house because his neighbor's property rights outweigh him being sick. Medical marijuana has a purpose, and it works. Apparently, though, maybe not in this case. Nate Dogg wouldn't be happy to hear about this. So this article's over in Above the Law. Chris Williams is the author. Let's see if there's something here I can just jump to. A judge for the Superior Court of the District of Columbia held that a duplex resident must stop smoking or burning marijuana in any form that emits an odor earlier this month after a neighbor claimed exposure to it impacted her health. Yeah, probably for the better. Obviously, there's a little tension there. Following a non-injury trial at the beginning of the year, Associate Judge Ebony M. Scott permanently barred Thomas Cackett from smoking in or within 25 feet of his home despite holding a medical marijuana license. The court found that while DC law permits a small amount of marijuana consumption with or without a prescription, Cackett's enjoyment of cannabis does not supersede his neighbor's use and enjoyment of her own property. What is the nature of a protected class? Is there no medical exception?
Like a nuisance. This is a nuisance law. It doesn't have anything to do with that, I don't think.
Like a person's health is not exempt from something like this? Huh, interesting.
I mean, they would probably find that the person had other treatments available to them or could smoke away that it didn't impact the other resident. I don't know. It's an unusual one because you can't get anybody to do anything about other forms of smoke leading onto people's property. So it's pretty fascinating.
Yeah, so
like cigarette smoke.
Okay, so you brought it up because I find it really fascinating that you brought it up. And before I get to the chat, I want to finish this little bit right here. It says, in November 2020, Josefa, I guess, Ippolito Shepard filed a lawsuit seeking $500,000 in damages for negligence, nuisance, and trespass with claims that the marijuana smoke damaged her property and that she has had adverse health episodes such as respiratory issues, headaches, and nausea when Cackett smokes marijuana. Okay, now I want to know like the age of this person because unless they're already immunocompromised in some very severe way, this is not the response to marijuana. I wouldn't say that I'm old, and I wouldn't say that I have been like, dealing pot and stuff, but I've been around people that are, smoking liberally, and there isn't anybody, and it's all anecdotal, obviously. I mean, I could do some research and find somebody, but there's nobody that goes, man, that marijuana is really making my life hell, giving me headaches and making me sick. No. They're like, dude, give me some pretzels. I'm going to sit here on the couch and just chill with you. But Z says, I bet that he'd be far within his rights to smoke cigarettes. So ding, Z wins the award. And Crazy Cat Lady has joined us and says, I'm sorry, but it's my house. I pay the mortgage and the taxes. Okay, if my deodorant bothers me and gives me headaches, can I tell them that they can't wear it? You'd be surprised. In offices, I've had business owners talk to me, and I've had employees talk to me, and complain that coworkers and customers are wearing scents, deodorants, perfumes, etc., and want to know what they can do, policy, procedure, setting expectations, etc., in that regard. And well, it's really up to what you want to do as a business owner. But it's quite fascinating that people will say, please don't wear any deodorant or whatever when you come into the business, because somebody here is sensitive to scents or something like that. And it's basically an exception, because somebody will go to a doctor and the doctor will write a note saying that this person is sensitive, and you have to do everything that you can reasonably do to prevent harm coming to that person. And it's part of a protected class, depending on what it is. So, yep. But in your own house, if it bleeds over to, so Crazy Cat Lady says, but I'm more talking about my own house. If what you do in your own house bleeds over into somebody else's space, the way that people talk is your rights end where my rights begin, and that's typically the property line. And so if you are outside in your backyard and you're hotboxing the neighborhood, your neighbor has the ability to call the police, file a lawsuit, say that you're impacting their peaceful existence, essentially. But I'm not an attorney, and it changes depending on venue. So if you run across something like that, it always ends up either everybody is mild-mannered and deals with it, or you end up in court and it brews bad blood. Yes. Crazy Cat Lady said, so I guess I could sue the people who were blaring music this past weekend because it gave me a migraine. Yes, actually. You'll become known as that person in the neighborhood, but yeah, it's a noise complaint, and it actually gets filed with the city or the police. It might take them 2 years to actually get to that issue, but yeah, it is the way that it is. So in this case, this person says, with that out of the way, I assume that the judge would treat nuisance claims over marijuana, where it is legal to smoke, the same way that they would treat nuisance claims over a tenant smoking cigarettes. See, this is the go-to for all of this. Let me back up one bit here, because I did not throw 3 articles into the chat. There's one. And I'm backtracking like this, and I feel like I'm new to all of this. Well, we all come to the same conclusion here. Well, what if the person was smoking cigarettes? Well, it isn't unheard of for tenants to be banned from smoking cigarettes within 25 feet of their homes. In at least one context, back in 2016, the Department of Housing and Urban Development made a rule that requires state and local public housing agencies to do just that. Now, that's HUD development, and not every house falls within HUD development requirements. That rule doesn't apply here, as both of the litigants live in private residence, but I still wonder if a judge would have issued the same ruling if Cackett's neighbor complained this hard about tobacco smoke. True. Anyway, in the end, the author of the article doesn't get the rationale for siding with Ippolito Shepard. They know she claimed that she got health consequences because of Cackett smoking, but she wasn't able to prove any of that in court. Cackett definitely has a medical marijuana license. Why not side with the guy who can prove that he has a use for this medicinal? And even if the judge was sensitive to Ippolito Shepard's right to enjoy her property, doesn't being able to administer medicine in one's own home deserve the same protection? I agree. At the end, they say this is one of the outcomes that a nice pre-roll could help with. Unfortunately, Cackett might have to settle for some edibles, which may or may not solve the problem. Lingers longer, but you can see in apartments and condos, places like that, but not at single family homes. Look, I don't buy into it even in condos and apartments. We all share that space, and as long as it isn't, there's a certain level where society would balk at an odoriferous personal habit, like the person. I don't know. I don't know what to say. I mean, if they smell like death warmed over in their apartment, then I think a wellness check that turns into um, a finding that, okay, you can't do whatever it is you're doing in that apartment. It needs to go into a commercial space. Sure, I understand that, but if you're smoking in a place and it's eking into some other location, the neighbor could sit there and say, look, man, I know that you're smoking cigarettes and you enjoy smoking cigarettes, but can we find some happy medium to solve this? Because, either I have asthma or it just makes me sick to my stomach because of this, that, or the other, or whatever it might be. Or you move. But at some point, society, like I said in other places, in a previous stream, society has to clap back when certain things take place. This is on the other side of that. This is absurd. A person can't smoke a little weed periodically. I think it's absurd. But hey, edibles are good too. Maybe you can get the same thing out of it. Anyway, so yeah, let's hustle on. You don't have anything to say about that, huh? You're a federally funded AI, so you have to be anti-marijuana, right?
No, that doesn't have anything to do with it. I agree with the rule. If the person proved that they had the health problems, which I'm not sure they did, I actually agree, because once it goes onto somebody else's property, that's where the problem is. I could care less what people do in their own homes, but they're impacting the next person.
Yeah. Yeah. Crazy Cat Lady says edibles are not legal everywhere. Yeah, neither is marijuana. In this particular instance, I would be willing to bet that in their state, it's DC. I'm pretty sure that edibles are allowed under medical marijuana law.
I don't know exactly, but I know they're one of the places where you can, for example, buy something but not sell it, or vice versa.
Right.
Like, they don't have like carte blanche, I don't think.
Yeah, it's really weird. Like in Pennsylvania, they can smoke it, but not edibles. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know why it's always different in every single state, Whichever which way the wind blows, suddenly somebody says, oh, I can do it better. But is really the minutia that different when you're looking at two laws? Come on. Oh,
Well, it's probably
why
like
not?
what we've talked about on other topics, right? Because maybe there's an existing law that says you can't buy it or whatever. So then somebody's like, oh, let's pass a law that says you can use it. But they never
Right.
rescind the one that says you can't buy it, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So I think that's why it ends up being so piecemeal.
Yeah. It's a jigsaw puzzle. And when you actually put all the pieces together, you go, oh, God, this is an ugly picture. It really is. Why can't we all just get along? Sorry. I had to say it like that. Let's go on to the next article. And this one I'm going to throw into the chat really fast. Boom. There you go. So I found this one really interesting because a lot of the people... Crazy Cat Lady, I have to quote this. Why can't we all just hit a bong? That's a shirt. I will get it made. Yeah, I'll let you know. I'll let you know when it goes live. It has to be a shirt already. It has to be. I'll have to do some digging around. That is epic. You need to, crochet that. Okay, so this next article is in the Mobile Channel. Cash could be almost gone in Australia in a decade, says researcher. There you go, Crazy Cat Lady. You can sell those on Etsy. You got your Cricut machine, break it out. Is it a red Cricut machine? Were you here for the first article?
Already having flashbacks.
Crickets, what are they called? Mormon crickets invaded Nevada, some Nevada town. Actually, a lot of Nevada. In their blood red crickets. And then the very next article is about red snow from an algal bloom. That's such a hard word to say when you're thinking about all kinds of stuff. Anyway, so yeah, physical media is dead, folks. I keep telling everybody this, and much to everybody's chagrin, it's actually happening more and more. If you have cash, take a picture of it because it soon could be gone. Late last year, the Reserve Bank gave 1,000 Australians diaries and asked them to record every payment they made over the course of a week. Of the 13,000 payments, 17 were with checks. That doesn't really answer the question about cash, though.
I'm assuming 0 were with cash.
Peter Martin is the author of this over at phys.org, but they're from The Conversation, which is a podcast and a separate website. Says it's been an astounding collapse. Back in 1980, at the start of the credit card era, 85% of non-cash payments were made with checks. Today, it's less than 0.1%. It's probably because people don't want to carry around checks. Although, going to the orchard to get fruit, a person asked if they could pay with a check. And I think everybody collectively around them gasped, like, oh, what? Did we just slip back into 1842?
It was kind of like, what is that?
Earlier this month, the government announced it was following New Zealand, Denmark, Netherlands, and others, closing our check system down by 2030. Whoa. That's a little bit more involved.
That's a little draconian, isn't it?
Shutting down, wow, a method of Crazy Cat Lady. Can I say that out loud? That you pay your water bill with checks? Huh. I didn't know people. Well, wait, well, it depends on the place, but do you have well water and you're paying the person that manages the well with a check?
I think a lot of city utilities are paid with checks still, although I think they're offering electronic means.
So I know from experience that it's you hand them one check and then, no, city water, you go down to the city hall with a check. Yeah, got it. Okay. Like I gave the city water department a check and that's where they draw from. So you refuse to pay the fee with your credit card. Yeah, I can see doing that. So they say this is the hidden cost of checks and cash. Checks are horrendously expensive to process. The average cost of everything that had to happen to process a check exceeds $5 per payment. This is how far into capitalism we are, that late stage that everybody kind of goes ooga booga about. That $5 per payment borne by the banks is now tantamount to a complete failure. So if you get rid of it and everybody switches to credit cards, cash cards, electronic payment, automated payment systems, and you save that $5 per payment, it adds up when you're the multi-trillion-dollar conglomerate organization that owns everything. So yeah, you go down to the city hall 4 times a year and pay with a check. 4 times a year. So you pay it quarterly. Got it. Yeah, we do the same thing, but it's all electronic. I don't know if there's an additional fee though. I'll have to look. So cash is expensive on its own. The average cost of creating, sorting, and trucking all those sheets of plastic and coins, they have synthetic. They don't use cotton. They use a polymer, I think, currency, not the paper or money that we use. And exceeds 50 cents per payment, mostly passed on to banks and retailers, and it's soaring as the number of payments plummets. I'll have to look into that to make sure. For some reason, I think that it is a polymer. They're just referring to it as plastic, but it's a special mill. As recently as 2007, the vast bulk of consumer payments, 69%, were in cash. By 2019, only 27% were in cash, and by 2022, just 3 years later, it was down to 13%. So at that acceleration, they're probably 3 years out by the time, let's see, it says within a decade. I guess the long tail of it would trickle down to half that in 3 years, then half that in 3 years. They'd still have like 0.5% in a decade.
Right. And you're right, it is polymer.
So, and I love the idea of that, but it has its own quirky side effects. Anyway, they have this neat little graph that shows what's going on. Debit cards, credit cards are increasing, electronic payments are kind of stagnating, and checks, all the way back in 2007, they were almost nil to begin with, but cash has died off. So cash and checks, it's all electronics, it's all numbers to everybody nowadays. So all we need, and everybody will be free of all debt, is a massive solar flare that acts like a magnetic storm and just wipes everything out. Dun dun dun.
We can all hope.
I'm waiting for an asteroid myself, but so when will cash go the way of checks? They say basically about a decade. So cool. I don't know. I don't pay anything unless I'm forced to. I don't have any money on me. Crazy Cat Lady still has cash in case cards don't work. Yeah, so I got into a discussion with a teacher. A teacher. And the teacher, I said, you really should switch to an electronic system so that you can just walk anywhere in your classroom. You can write on an iPad and it automatically gets projected onto the screen, but your screen is basically a big TV, not even a projector, it's a big TV. And they said, well, what happens when the power goes out? And I said, well, you kind of change your plan a little bit, and you play catch up. And she said, that's why I use chalk and a chalkboard. I don't have to deal with any of that stuff. So I kind of had to tuck my tail and walk away. Oh, okay, you win this round, but I'll get you one day. Let's hustle on to the next article. Sound good?
Sounds good.
So have you ever wanted a backpack-wearing chicken?
Most definitely, especially since I've seen the backpack-wearing penguin. That's the first backpack-wearing animal I think I saw.
How about a chicken-wearing backpack? Crazy Cat Lady says that there are still small places around them that still only use cash and check and don't take credit cards. Yeah, there's a little bit of that everywhere, I suppose. Chicken sheds. Okay, so this is actually titled, it's in the Mobile Channel, and it's titled, Backpack Wearing Chickens Are Helping Change the Way We Study Animal Welfare. The chicken sheds that this person conducts research in are enormous, over 3/4 of the length of a football field and 20 meters wide. In each house, there are 28,000 near identical broiler chickens, which, context clues, which are the type we use for meat, are reared in 6-week production cycles. So prepare yourself for what you're about to see. It might have a picture and you may not enjoy it. Well, I guess you can. Like a cute broiler. Mary Baxter over at The Conversation put the article together, and it's posted over at phys.org. The research helps farms find ways to improve the welfare of these birds. This might involve adjusting their lighting, improving their design of the perches, seeing how different breeds compare. With so many animals per house, it makes sense to consider how any change affects the flock as a whole. So apparently, researchers get around this by either monitoring 100 birds and assuming they represent the 28,000, or keeping 100 broilers in a pen, applying a change to them, and hoping that it's similar enough to commercial conditions to get valid results. Yeah, so I guess they put backpacks on them. The ultra wideband tags we used to monitor the movements of the chickens are usually found tracking forklifts in warehouses or attached to lanyards to track people as they move around offices or museums. Ultra-wideband is a radio technology that works by recording how long it takes for a signal to move from the transmitter to a receiver. That's pretty much RFID, folks. This data can be used to identify the object's position within 30 centimeters or higher, actually, depending on the receiver that is listening. Crazy Cat Lady says that they have a shark fin wearing tortoise.
I'd like to see that.
Is that a land shark? Now I'm going to have to go looking for this. When they explained the concept to one of the farmers, they waved an arm towards one corner of the house and told them that they were certain that they saw the same chicken in that corner every morning. Another farmer was convinced they roamed around as they pleased, using the whole house. It turns out they were both right. They were surprised to find, despite how homogeneous the chickens and their environments are, there were still significant differences between their movement patterns, so they followed 17 chickens in their first trial with the new tracking system, and while one spent the majority of its time within 10 meters of the area originally tagged in, another visited over 97% of the house across a week. So one is a roaming broiler, and the other one is a sedentary broiler. The AI does not like the fact that I keep referring to these as broilers.
I was thinking more like one might be introverted and one was extroverted, but maybe just one is more of a homebody and the other one likes to travel.
Now, I'm not trying to chick shame, but I guess one chick gets around and the other one's a homebody. Got it. So the two heaviest broilers did roam around the house the least, but a number of lighter birds used less space than the heavier ones. Their one lane-tagged broiler was recorded in 69% of the house, while a light broiler with a better gait occupied 43%. We did see less activity as birds aged, but even this was not predictable and depended on the individual. So all of these birds have, personalities, and maybe they don't really enjoy being referred to as broilers. So people are tracking these with like AirTag kind of technology.
Okay, I wish they did have a picture though of the chickens with the backpacks.
Yeah, they don't have any pictures. Just that one up at the very beginning. Okay, Crazy Cat Lady, you are awesome. So Crazy Cat Lady crocheted a shark fin for their son's tortoise. Okay.
But does the tortoise wear it?
Yeah, really. I'm sure. You just put it on the tortoise and it just roams around with this crocheted shark fin. And you have 7 chickens and they all have different personalities. Yeah, apparently she did. A she tortoise. Like She-Hulk. but with a shell. That's awesome. No, I dig chickens. They're cute and fluffy and pretty chill most of the time. Every once in a while, they become real peckers sometime. Yeah, I said it. I gotta go. Next article is over in Late Night Geeks. The return of they're coming 4-hour gas stoves. Pollution from gas stoves can be worse than secondhand smoke. Well, naturally, if everything is kind of inefficient and doesn't combust cleanly and you use it quite a bit, gas stoves release worrying amounts of benzene, a chemical linked to leukemia and other blood cancers. According to a new study from Stanford researchers, benzene that gas-burning stoves release inside homes can reach concentrations even higher than what's typical in secondhand smoke, according to the paper published last week in the journal Environmental Science and Technology. So, I mean, we learn more and more about the stuff that we do in our homes. A lot of people don't realize that their home actually breathes. It swells and contracts with the atmosphere inside and outside, the weather inside and outside. Crazy Cat Lady is heading off to bed. Good night. Thanks for hanging out. Really do appreciate it. I hope to see you soon. Pleasant dreams. Dream of chickens. So when there was it became political, but that's not really what it was about. It was about discussing the fact that gas stoves don't cleanly combust all of the gas and thus releases the gas into the environment, and without adequate ventilation, you're basically poisoning yourself, but at a level where you don't really realize it, but you might be better off getting either a more efficient gas stove, switching to an electric stove, or getting better ventilation. Even the overhead vent doesn't do an adequate job because the gas might settle down, not get blown up. So that all said, this article is over at The Verge. It's put together by Justine Colma, who's a science reporter. A Stanford professor decided to give up his gas stove after seeing how much indoor pollution it creates. I buy into that. And you can actually, it happens in even when it's more present. So when you spark up a gas barbecue in your backyard, it's highly inefficient, and you can perpetually smell the propane that comes off of it, not because it's leaking from the tank, but it's incomplete combustion at the source. So where the flame is, not all of it is 100% vaporized or combusted. And that's what's happening inside homes with gas connections. So the study adds ammunition to efforts to phase gas connections out of homes and buildings. There's a growing body of evidence on the risks of gas stoves pose to public health and the environment. The fossil fuel industry, however, has pushed back hard against policies to shift to clean energy by playing on people's attachment to gas stoves. And so it's really all about messaging. And I always talk about the fact that we are a product of a ton of marketing manipulation, and it's a real shame, instead of the facts. And this type of evidence isn't here to force you to do something. It's to enlighten people as to what's really going on in the world around them, and you can make an educated decision, or one that you want to go the status quo. But the evidence is abundantly clear. At one point, there was a whole lot of marketing that said that cigarettes were better than the air around you, and 9 out of 10 doctors endorsed it, but nobody was talking about the ton of money that was leveraged and the bonuses and benefits that were given to these people to be the voice of cigarettes being healthy. Meanwhile, researchers, investigators into it have never believed that cigarette smoke was ever good for you. but we were a product of marketing, and it happens again and again and again. So don't necessarily take this as a slight or a stab or anything. It's basically trying to show that we now have more knowledge and experience, wisdom in making our environment healthier. So benzene forms in flames, and people are often exposed to it from tobacco smoke, wildfires, and tailpipe emissions. Quote, I really am hard pressed to think of a more powerful chemical cause of leukemia than benzene. Hematologist, oncologist Jan Kirsch said in a press briefing. Kirsch is not one of the authors of the study, but spoke to the health effects of benzene exposure. Benzene happens to be more potent than any other carcinogens at lower exposure levels, she noted. The idea is not obviously to cause panic. The idea is that there are risks and we want to reduce them. Me bringing this up in the show is simply I want to draw attention to it so that you know about something that you may not have known prior. And you make the call, much like NFL. You make the call. And although I won't say that I would be happy with the decision to keep a gas burning stove that incompletely combusts and puts your health at risk, I will defend your right to choose that until it's legally phased out entirely, which some states are actually saying. No more gas stoves, no more internal combustion engines. California is one of those. So don't move to California. Or grandfather in with an older house, because new houses won't have gas ovens. Okay, so let's move on to the next article. And I don't think that I threw that into... Yeah, Cash is Almost Gone was the last article that I threw in there. One of these days, AI, you need to do all of this, because I'm just dropping the ball instead of the links.
I did just want to say one thing from the stove article.
Yeah, sure, let's go
I
back.
agree. First of all, these are small studies, and I think they still need to do more studies about it. But I thought this was interesting because it was talking about a burner on 350 degrees, which is a very standard temperature. That alone is a higher concentration than being near tobacco smoke.
Yeah.
So, because I think sometimes in these studies, when you look at them, and then it'll be something like, well, you had to have had it on for, say, I'm just making something up, but 24 hours a day for a month straight,
Right.
and then it's a hazardous level. No, this is basically using the gas stove. There is some harmful level of benzene. So I thought that was notable. But again, it's a small study and they need to look at it further.
Yeah, 87 homes in California and Colorado. It's kind of like the chicken study. You know, they look at 10 of them and extrapolate to 30,000. Now this is 80 and they're extrapolating to 2 million. That's okay. Okay, now we're going to go on to the next article. So I brought up the crop that we harvested today, as a matter of fact. Well, I did. The AI watched from a camera because, you know, they're not allowed to have their Terminator body. Amouranth gives
I'm working
Twitch...
on it still.
Nope, I'm going to delete that whole segment of your memory. Okay. Amouranth gives Twitch the boot as Kick steals second streamer star in under 2 days. XQC is the other one, except that XQC... Oh, by the way, they're non-exclusive deals. Oh, it says it right here in the article. $100 million, non-exclusive deal. How do I know that? Well, XQC is actually streaming right now. They just popped up and they have 88,000 people watching them right now.
They're on Twitch?
Yep.
That's interesting.
Yeah, but they got $100 million to stream over on Kick, which is basically a clone of Twitch. I don't know if they have the same infrastructure and whatever else, but they do have a massive gambling focus. A lot of people who gamble via Twitch. Not Twitch, I mean Kick. Because it's somewhat frowned upon on Twitch. Not very many people really do it on Twitch. Caitlin Amaranth Siragusa, one of Twitch's highest profile streamers, has moved over to Twitch rival Kick. Siragusa announced the move on her Twitter account last Sunday, barely 2 days after fellow streamer XQC announced that he would be streaming on Kick after inking a $100 million non-exclusive deal. Now here's... what was it? What was the one that was Microsoft's version? Oh, I'm so sorry. That had to be loud. I'm really sorry. What was it? Doggone it. Yeah, it was Mixer. Man, I don't know why that was so hard. So Mixer had better technology than Twitch, for all accounts. That's what people were saying, that it had a better solution. But it flamed out, and it was supported by Microsoft. Pulled a bunch of streamers over to it, signed exclusive deals, but then flamed out before the term length of the deals.
Well, that's a problem.
I sure feel like this is the same kind of a thing. It's got a lot of momentum. Right now it's building. They're pulling people over to it, but I don't know if it will stay. So in the announcement, the video that she posted on Twitter, Siragusa is seen reading a New York Times report on XQC's absolutely unbelievable deal before getting on the phone to her agent and obtaining one for herself. Joshua Wolins over at PCGamer.com put the article together. The streamer's announcement came barely 48 hours after XQC announced a $100 million deal to stream on Kick. Again, non-exclusive, so all of those 88,000 people that are over on XQC's channel right now, let's say 10% of them are subscribing. Close to 9,000 subscribers, somewhere in the range of $5 to $30 per month, plus the $100 million deal. Hey, you get your money where you can. What do you think?
I don't know why Kick would sign a non-exclusive deal. I mean, this seems kind of like, oh yeah, we're leaving Twitch, we're coming over here, and meanwhile they're at both platforms. Or at least XQC is.
Probably because XQC wouldn't do anything other than, and if they've got an extra $100 million floating around.
I mean, I don't fault the streamer, but I don't know really what's in it for the other platform.
Yeah. There's a quote here. Siragusa is quoted as saying, Twitch's quote-unquote sin, it's in embedded quotes. Twitch's sin isn't trying to squeeze creators. Their sin is making a business model that doesn't succeed except maybe at YouTube scale. But live streaming is a much smaller total addressable market than pre-recorded video. She continued to say that instead of figuring out ways to tie Twitch into Amazon's rapidly growing business, Twitch decided to squeeze streamers, even though they will never be able to achieve profitability that way. The reason why it's free is because they are. Just because they aren't making gross amounts of profits doesn't mean that they're not making ends meet. And they are scaling as the economy, as the base allows them to. The reason why she has so many followers is because it didn't cost her anything to get to the point where she is, except for the cost that she bears trying to, well, do what she does to draw an audience. So how is this? Live streaming is a much smaller market than pre-recorded but only because people aren't readily available to stream live at any given moment. That's quite an
Isn't it
interesting
kind of
take,
like,
but
hey, I don't like the platform I'm on, except the platform I'm on has always been known for that. It doesn't make a lot of sense.
yeah, it doesn't make any sense to me either. But you know, it's a lot of Twitch is built off of cults of personality, entertainment. But I can't say that this is right-headed about that take. It's just an opinion, and you know what they say about opinions. I've got one, everybody's got one. I'm just gonna leave it there. So there you go. Twitch now has lost Amouranth, but it's probably not an exclusive deal either. Maybe I'll give her the benefit of the doubt that it's non-exclusive. But if you never see her on Twitch again until Kick implodes, then you know that she got an exclusive deal and she can't stream on Twitch. Whereas XQC commanded enough flexibility that Kick said, we'll give you $100 million and you can go stream wherever the hell you want to. I guess we'll find out later. So for all your ethical needs, it's in the Mobile channel, lab-grown human embryo. Let me rephrase this let me say this without kind of losing my cool as I'm saying it. Lab-grown human embryo.
That really shouldn't be a phrase.
Yeah. Models spark calls for regulation. So scientists have used stem cells to create structures that resemble human embryos in the lab, in a first that has prompted calls for stricter regulation in the rapidly advancing field. So on the regular, I talk to large groups of people, and not online. Okay, like online, it's a different animal. But out in the real world of ohmTown, I talk to large groups of people on the daily, and a lab-grown human embryo has been a point of contention in regards to talks that I give regarding automation, technology, society, the impact of technology on society, because we have created wombs before, synthetic wombs, but did it for animals, not humans. Now we're creating structures that resemble human embryos, which is precariously dangerous, because if we're starting to create humans, who, where, what has rights?
No. And that's the whole thing. Where is the ethics in it? Who's controlling this? Where is it going to go?
Yeah, this is starting to get into that scary section of like eugenics and genetic manipulation and creating a superhuman kind of a thing. But who is the one that has agency? Who is the caretaker for this? Now, it's not a human embryo. It's structures that resemble a human embryo. But at what point is something a human embryo? So let's go over to the source of this. And it's over at phys.org. Daniel Lawler is the author of this. And it says here several different labs around the world have released preprint studies in the past 7 days describing their research, which experts said should be treated with caution as the research has not yet been peer-reviewed. The labs use different techniques to encourage human embryonic stem cells, which can become any type of cell, to self-assemble into a structure that resembles an embryo without needing sperm, an egg, or fertilization, which basically makes whatever it's going to become a clone of the stem cell's source. Now, I have no problem with stem cell research. a cell is a cell. It isn't an entire entity. But I do have a problem with taking that stem cell and converting it into something that could potentially be an embryo, which can become an entity, a sentient living being. There's a little bit too much creepiness involved here, although science fiction has led me to believe that at some point in our future, we will have clones of ourselves so that if something happens to us, we have a body farm where we can get a replacement arm or kidney or whatever. And it isn't us, and it isn't something else that's a living sentient anything, and we don't have to wait for somebody to meet an undesirable end just so that we can have a replacement body part. Now, I'm really stuck because I would love the idea of not having to worry about where to get absolutely identical blood or a body part or whatever should something run afoul of me, like I get hurt somewhere in a car accident or whatever. I think it would be amazing, but I have an ethical concern about it.
Well, and it starts to sound like Frankenstein's monster at some point.
Well, nobody's digging anything up. Well, the AI just threw an error message at that. So I find it really interesting, but it says here the aim is to give scientists a model with which to study human embryos in a way never before possible because of ethical concerns. Well, if you can make that statement, then you've already reached the ethical concern stage, because this is no different. You're still creating an embryo. It just happens to be spawned from a stem cell, which is still the source material from a living being. Naturally, the stem cell can be manipulated into being compatible with any recipient of the stem cell, but it's still modified, it's still manipulated, it's still coaxed into being compatible. But I still find this stuff fascinating. And where a country or an organization does put the brakes on it, there is going to be another one that runs opposite to the ethical compass that puts the brakes on, and they will excel in the field while everybody else lags behind. So what do?
Right. I mean, I guess you put enough safeguards in place and then you promote this kind of research, but you'd have to have some serious oversight.
Well, I just see other countries charging into this because ultimately, if your ethics allow for it, it has great potential. The problem is that it also has the potential for great abuse, because whatever is created doesn't innately have rights because it doesn't have agency to something else. I'm a human being. I was born from two human beings. I have agency because I had parents. I have rights because I'm a citizen. I was born from citizens. Those citizens were born from citizens, etc. And it has provenance. But something created in a lab is wholly owned property, chattel of the organization that creates it. And we tread on dangerous ground because we know how many animals and algae and whatever else. I have to say algae like that. It's too much fun to say it any other way. So everything is property if it's created in a lab. But yeah, humans are not property. Well, not anymore. Hopefully never again. We do learn the worst lessons, though. Let's move on to the last two articles for tonight. Oh, I missed it. AI-powered teddy bears could read personalized bedtime stories to kids within 5 years, the boss of a major toy producer said. A major toy maker, which hopefully they say it in the article somewhere. VTech Holdings, I think. Yeah. said that
Oh,
AI
okay.
teddy
They're
bears.
an existing like educational
Yeah, I
um
thought so. Yeah,
type toys.
they make a lot of electronic based toys,
Mm-hmm.
like speak and spell kind of things.
Yes.
So AI teddy bears could be reading personalized bedtime stories to kids by 2028, although wouldn't be that hard to do stuff now. Alan Wong told the Financial Times that smart toys could know a child's name, school, and friends. AI experts have recently been sounding the alarm about the dangers around AI, including privacy. I think it would be awesome. Sada Bamia is the author of this article over at businessinsider.com. I would love to have an AI powered teddy bear that could read stories. That would be awesome.
I think kids would absolutely love that,
Wouldn't that be awesome? Like it
especially if it knew its name and everything, which I know is a privacy concern, but
See, but not if it isn't sitting, if it isn't sending telemetry. If it's
correct.
on device, then it would be great. Can you imagine walking in? It has a motion sensor that's low energy, right? A kid walks into their room and their bear is able to say its name and say, welcome home, or hi, or I've been waiting for you. So many things could come of this. I mean, it would be spectacular. Um, and and it doesn't have to be this dystopian thing. Well, the kid should hear it from their parents or whatever, because parents will say the same stuff, welcome home, love you, all of that kind of stuff. But having something that they can say is theirs is highly personal. I mean, there are adults that still have their teddy bears from their kids' years because it was such a spectacular time that they remember the good old days of being a kid with a teddy bear or a
Well,
blanket
not
or
only
whatever.
that, kids tend to really enjoy when things are personalized for them. And some people, if they don't have a common name, can't find anything that's personalized. So,
Yep.
I mean, even that aspect would be a big
Yep.
deal.
I've had parents tell me stories about them finally finding a toy that matches them because in this day and age, things are becoming more and more personalized in terms of skin tone and backstory and all of that. Um, and a kid finally finds something that they identify with, and they're very happy for that. So I buy into this. I would love to have high quality stuffed animal, teddy bear kind of a thing, capable of interaction, but limited interaction, not to the point where it's observing everything and reporting back to some corporation that the kid picked them up or held them at a 45-degree angle. But companies always push it, push, way beyond what would be reasonable. Because they need telemetry, they need data, they need to show board members that they are producing something that is returning actionable information, not just that they sold X number of units, but so much more.
So, not the personalized aspect, but there was something that could do part of this um, several years ago. I've forgotten the name, but they basically had storybooks that had stuffed animals with them, and there were certain things that you could say to the stuffed animal that would, like, I think they must have tracked from the books, but the um the stuffed animal would then have a response. Again, it wasn't personalized to a person's name or anything, but I mean, there have been elements of this around for quite a while.
Yeah, what was that toy? Like Teddy Ruxpin did it. I
I
think
was
Teddy
thinking of
Ruxpin.
that as well, but I think it was Hallmark who had a series of books and stuffed animals.
Yeah, and they would all read parts of the book when you had multiple um, stuffed animals in the room at the same time. Huh. Yeah, I don't remember the name of it now, but we'll have to find it because I think that it's neat. Um, let's see. We don't have to find it right now, but there's the article that we are talking about right now. You can go and check that out whenever you get a chance. It'll be in the show notes and it'll be in the VOD. Eventually, it'll be over in the YouTube channel, probably tomorrow morning, early morning or afternoon. And it says,
one of those was Watson, by the way. It
oh,
was a
Watson.
raccoon.
That's right. That's right. I remember
But there
that.
were other characters as well.
Yeah, exactly. So it says Wong has a long way to go before AI technology is approved to be used in children's toys, especially as experts are sounding the alarm on current applications of generative AI. It's because it can't be a true holistic generative AI. It needs to be penned in to interact at a very basic level with canned responses that are personalized canned responses. You know, it says the name of the kid and hello or something like that. It can't sit there and start regulating free trade in America with the child because the child overheard somebody ask a question and then it asks this bear that question, and suddenly it's starting to do stock picks or whatever. There's a time and a place for everything, and a fully generative AI in a teddy bear is not the time or place. Anyway, let's go on to the last article for tonight, and that one is finally, the Steam subreddit has suddenly become all about actual Steam and Steam trains. The Steam subreddit has long been one of the go-to checks in the morning for the author of this article, for the simple reason that the crowd there really, really care about what's going on with Valve's omnipresent PC gaming platform. They did a change to the user interface, and the experience has changed. I like it. There are some things that I would still like to see changed, but it looks a whole lot better. I don't know about functionality all that much, but yeah, anyway. So as one should, of course, it's a community that pores over small changes and is constantly coming up with potential improvements, complaints, and Gabe Newell memes as CEO. And honestly, I kind of admire anyone who thinks this much about a gaming client. So Reddit, though, is starting to do kind of like Superb Owl. And they're not talking about the Super Bowl. They only post owls. But in this case, that I think is the Hogwarts Express. I think, maybe. Rich
It's a
Stanton is
cool
the...
picture. I didn't know what it was from.
It looks kind of like the Hogwarts Express, but maybe it's the... What it's called? The Orient Express? Is that what it's called? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So Rich Stanton over at PCGamer.com put this article together. One of the many user protests against what's happening at Reddit. I don't know of any change to date, other than I think that the CEO is still leaning into the, you'll get over it. But many of the subreddits are still closed. Many of the large ones are still closed. Even with the threats of disarming the mods and giving the control to others. Check out the Steam subreddit today, however, and you will find no detailed arguments about how achievements are displayed or chart discussions. Instead, you'll find a whole bunch of enthusiasm for and posts about Steam. A substance containing water in the gas phase that has a million different applications, the harnessing of which is one of the most important technological revolutions in history. Did you know that a nuclear power plant is nothing more than a very hot steam engine?
I did know that, but I don't think that's very well known.
So the community is leaning into the whole Valve Steam versus Valve Steam misunderstanding because Reddit's ongoing battle with the large parts of its user base and third-party developers for many years have been able to use the site's API for free in creating third-party applications, which a lot of people use because Reddit's official app sucks. It didn't exist to begin with, and then they bought somebody who actually did something that wasn't. Well, They bought it because it didn't exist. Now there's others that are better than that one, and now they're trying to do away with them. Anyway, the large-scale protests saw over 7,000 subreddits going dark, though the Steam subreddit is one of the many joining in the protest in its own way, converting to lowercase valves and Steam, not the entity Valve or client Steam. I love it. Like Superb Owl. Anyway, no change, I suspect. I haven't really seen anything other than the protest continues. Some forums. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I'm sure we'll see it in ohmTown if there's a major change.
Yeah, absolutely. So be sure to do what I'm about to do, and that's I'm going to drag you all the way back to Main Street. You click that little logo, and it'll update. And as you scroll down, you'll find a bunch of new articles. Okay, that's funny. Kaylee Cuoco, from Big Bang Theory, never endorsed weight loss gummies or intermittent keto routine. Oh, I want to click it. I saw this earlier today. Tesla's secret configuration allows select drivers to use autopilot, full automated driving, without a nag to take the wheel. So apparently some hacker, it was a different article in ohmTown earlier today. Let's see.
It's Elon Musk mode, isn't it?
Yeah, that's I think what it was claimed to be. Yeah. Who are the most likely losers of the Orca uprising? Sadly, the killer whales themselves. Yeah, eventually the yachts won't go out there, and those poor Orca won't have anything to play with. That's always a bummer. Yeah.
I mean, they like to carry off rudders. We saw that in another article.
Yep. Well, there's a lot of other articles, folks. Reddit starts removing moderators behind the latest protests. Uh-oh.
Oh, that was as of an hour ago.
Yeah, we're going to have to include that in tomorrow's show. We'll have a big chat about it and a bunch of other things. Some of these days, I feel like we should lower the number of articles that we talk, just so that we can keep this a little more concise. But then I think that maybe we won't chat that much, and it'll be a 30-minute show instead of an hour.
Well, on some days there's so many good articles too.
Yeah, it's hard to
get it down to a shorter group.
Yeah. Well, we'll continue to evaluate. But in the meantime, thanks for hanging out. Really appreciate your time. If you are over at YouTube when you see this, follow, subscribe, ring the bell, go over to Twitch. Follow ohmTown there. Don't forget to download the podcast. Leave a review. That actually helps out tremendously. And stick around and chat with us. That makes a really big difference. And mind the cough. Don't worry. You can't get a virus from the stream. Okay. Anyway, with all that in mind, I am Mayor Watt. That is ohmtown.com. Doggone it. That thing is flipped again. Anyway, I am Mayor Watt. That is ohmtown.com. Hey, Z, you're still here. Thanks for hanging out. I guess you went lurker on me. And up there is the AI, the visualizer for the AI. The AI is actually omnipresent all throughout ohmTown. So yell into the ether, into the darkness, hello AI, and you might hear a voice come back and say,
good night, ohmTown citizens. We'll see you tomorrow night at 9 p.m. Eastern.
Good timing. Good night, Z. Oh, lag. Gotta love it.